Welcome back, champions. So let's get started with part 11 of full stack web application development using JSP, right? So we so far what we have done many different things in this full stack web application development. We have created a box layout, we have created a flexible box layout, we have reused everything. We have reused header, we have reused footer, we have used this sidebar, and we have even reused code. We created config file, many different things. And yesterday and yesterday what we done, we also created this username wherein it is going to check for the existence of user name on blur, right? So this is what we did, and now you can see it's available, it is not available, or it is available, whatever you may say, right? So you may get available or you may get not available, right? And it is going to be a bit slow also using internet, so we have to show user the progress, right, while it's running. So what you can do right here, you can even show the progress, right? You can have the progress bar here, you can use that progress bar here and show him the progress as well, right? And email address, whether that is not available or not available. Right now it's available, right? Now both are available. So this thing was done, but we are not validating. As I said, verification and validation is the key of software engineering process, right? We're not validating up to the best extent. So we today are going to look for the best possible way of validation, right? We are going to do it completely professionally, and we are going to complete the registration module today professionally, right? Not like we can say just for the sake of a registration it should register. No, we have to make sure that we are taking valid data rather than taking invalid data. I'll give you an example of valid data. For example, if I say, what is your first name? Now, first name is not meant to have space. For example, if I say Fahim and KHAN. So now, please write your username. So first, and it has taken first and last name, wherein I should only supply the first name right here. Or what if I supply quotes and it's still taking it? Please write your username. It's still taking it. Why? Because we are validating only for something. We have our validation right here, and now what are we doing in validation? Just checking if user has supplied something or not, which is not the professional case. So this form is completely hackable, and it is completely we can say destroyable, because they are going to fix a bot, right? And the bot will keep on trying and trying. Why are you taking invalid data, right? This is by no means a username, right? If I say dash 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 is by no means a username. I can give dash 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 as a username, and then this is my last name. Now even username can be dash dash dash, and it's showing that this is available. Now this is something that we'll have to take care of, and this is something that we should be worried about. So today I will introduce to you guys is Java regular expressions. So we will use match today, and we will use regular expressions to accept the input that we want. For example, if we don't want user to enter underscore, we are not going to accept it. I don't want user to enter @ in the first name. I'm not going to accept it. I don't want user to enter space in the first name, right? And quite many different things, right, that we have to take care of. Now let's get quickly started with the regular expressions and see what we can do while using regular expressions. Many different things we can do, and for the sake I'll just delete this validation right here. Okay, let me just delete the validation of first name, right? So I'll just delete it. Now if I have deleted, it's not going to ask for the first name, it's going to ask for username only, right? So quickly I'll jump into essentials, and I will create a Java class known as validation, right? So this is going to be my class right here, right? So this is going to be my class, and I call this as validation. And in this class I am going to define many immutable patterns, but patterns cannot change, right? You'll have to make sure that the patterns are immutable, which cannot be changed. How do you make them as immutable? I'll make them as public, and I'll make them as static as well. All right, so I can say public static final, and the type is going to be pattern. So we will be using pattern. It comes from the class javax util.regex. Right, so we have to use this pattern class, which is java x-util.regex.pattern. So I'm going to define certain patterns. For example, a regular expression in Java starts with I'll say pattern, P-A-T-T-E-R-N, pattern dot compile. What happened is equal to pattern dot compile, and I will take any regular expression, so that I am going to compile. What happened? Identifier accepted. Okay. Okay. Now I'll say that the expression, regular expression in Java starts with a not. Now this is not, shift plus 6 key, and it ends with dollar. I repeat, regular expression in Java starts with not and it ends with dollar. In between, I am going to say something that I am going to accept. For example, I say, hey, I am going to accept A to Z, right? And I am going to accept A to Z, plus I am going to accept 2, 10. So minimum of 2 digits and maximum 10 digits of what? Of pattern, which is case insensitive, right? So I'll say pattern dot case insensitive. So now I've defined this pattern very well. All right, so pattern is defined now. So I say public static pattern, final pattern, and the name of this pattern. So I call this as pattern for user, or we can say pattern, I call this as name. So I'll use both for, or let's say f name, right? So the pattern is going to be f name. So I say public static pattern f name is equivalent to, right, it is equivalent to pattern dot compile this pattern, which is case insensitive. It's not going to be sensitive. I'm going to accept A to Z, and I'm going to accept 2 and 10 and nothing else. No special characters am I going to accept right here. Let me create a validate function now. I will say public static boolean validate, right, or can say public static boolean validation dot, let's call this as f name. So validate f name is going to accept a single parameter, which is going to be string f name. So whenever I call this function f name, I have to supply the first name that you are going to validate. So that is absolutely fine. And to validate, I have to match this pattern. For that, I will be using matcher. It's again here java.util.regex.matcher, right? You can even say import java x util.regex.star, so it imports all, right? Yeah, star can be also done. It imports all. It will import matcher. It is going to import everything. Or you can import them separately by just hitting Control and space bar. Now I'll say matcher, right, is equivalent to, now what do you want to match? Alright, I will say f name, which is right here, right, or I can say f name expression because it's the regular expression. So I'll say matcher is equivalent to f name dot expression dot matcher. I'll call matcher on that, and I will match the email, or sorry, I will match the first name. You know, whenever you call this function f name, you are going to supply one argument, and that argument is going to be first name. That first name is going to be matched with this regular expression using matcher, right? And then what is it going to return? It is going to return true or false. So I'll say return matcher dot find. Now if it's able to find, it is going to return true. If it is not able to find, it is going to return false. So let us do our first regular expression validation in accounts controller, right? Instead of this, right, I will say validation. It's a static function, so I'll say validation. So I will say validation dot f name, right? So why is this public? So I will say private, right? Alright, now it's private. I've hidden it. Alright, so I will say if validation dot f name. So here we'll have to supply f name. So I'll say user dot get f name. If it returns true, right? So if it is not then show user dots please write your first name. So let me check this. Now let's check it. Now minimum 2, so please write your first name. So if I say FAHIM, I still get please write your first. Now it is being accepted now. Now let us go and change this validation process right here, that I am going to accept maximum 10, for example, right? I'm going to accept 10 maximum, so I'll go ahead and I say FAHIM. So you can see please write your first name. Why? Because we are going to accept 10. Fahim Khan, still please write your F name. So unless it goes 10, it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So 9 digits, 10 digits, absolutely accepted. Now if I say this, not accepted, please write your first name. Why? Because I'm not accepting. So let's say case, let me say case pattern dot, I will say case underscore, or let me not say pattern dot, I will say Unix lines, Unicode character. I say Unicode case, just a moment. So I'll say Unicode case and I say Fahim. So it still says please write your first name, and let me decrease it. I am going to accept from 3, minimum 3 and maximum 10 characters, right? So let me see this. Alright, so now if I apply, I still get please write your first name. But what we have done, we have written a capital F right here. If I write small, now you can see please choose it. So now because you have not chosen case insensitive, you have chosen a right Unicode character. So now F is capital, it's not accepted. See, you are accepting small a to z. Now if you want to accept capital, I will write capital A to z is also accepted. Small a to z is also accepted. Right, this is called as equivalence class partition. I repeat, equivalence class partition. Unless it's equal to that, the input is equal to this, validation is not going to be complete, right? And minimum, it's called as boundary value analysis. So minimum 3, that you cannot be less than minimum and you cannot be greater than maximum. Maximum 10 characters are accepted. So now if I say Fahim, it is clearly accepted. Now you can see that you are getting, right? You are getting it, please write your username. Now even capital, but if I write Fahim Khan, now you say please write your first name, because you're not accepting spaces here, right? Why would you accept space in first name? But yeah, even if you want to accept space, you can give a bit of space right here. Now you can see that the first name with spaces also accepted. Right, you can clearly see please write your username, so space is also accepted. So in case if you don't want to accept space, I'll say I don't want to accept space. Capital A to Z and small a to Z in first name is quite sufficient, right? And I don't want to accept anything. Any special characters are not accepted. Now you've broken down the we can say backbone of hacker. Now hacker is helpless. He cannot write quotes, he cannot write special characters right here. And even if there's a mistake, for example, if I'm trying to register by mistake, if I hit this quote, so this is going to disturb my entire database structure. This is going to disturb, I cannot query on the basis of first name then, because the first name has a quote. So it's going to generate SQL errors when we are trying to retrieve the data. So, you know, without regular expressions, you cannot even think of a software without proper validation, right? So now if I enter code by mistake, the user has entered, say, please write your first name. Now we'll have to change the message as well. I'll say, hey, it's not like please write your first name, right? I will say first name, okay, alright, or we can say, please write a valid first name, right? So if it is not accepted, so I'll say please write a valid first name, right? That's much decorum, right? So I'll say please write a valid first name. So if I write FAHIM, no problem, please write your username. But if I add something like any special character, it's going to throw an error. Now this dash 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 is not my username, right? I am going to only accept characters. Now my first name is accepted. So I'll do the same. for my last name, because even spaces are not accepted. So if I enter space, the space is not accepted in our case, right? You can accept spaces and then trim later on if you want. All right, so let's not make life difficult for user. But yeah, why would he enter space? Because he has to enter only his first name. But yeah, you can enter, you can accept spaces. Give user a bit of luxury so that you can trim the space at the time when you are taking the data. All right, and I'm using the same expression for, I'll use it for L name. So same expression, all right, and I may try and accept some more things in username. So let me go ahead and say if I'll have to call validation dot L name. So please write, okay, we're not doing it for L name, right? We are doing it for username, but yeah, we have to do it for L name as well. Why? Because I'll tell you why. Because if L name is not mandatory, what if I go and type something like this? So it's still accepted, right? Okay, now isn't it? So I'll say this, right? So it is still accepted. Please write your username. So it has taken it as a last name, right? So that's why we have to do validation. If it is not mandatory, what you can do, you can create, you can say, hey, wait a second, for last name it is not mandatory, so I am going to create a different pattern for last name here. All right, so keep it ready for all your software is going to use this. So I will say static final pattern. So I will say L name expression, and in L name I'm going to accept 0. Okay, it's good if you're not typing anything, but if you are typing anything, it should match this, right? And I will use the same expression here, L name expression dot matter right here. Okay, now if I say I type Fahim, right? So it's accepted, no problem. Even if I type capital F, still accepted, all right? But if I type now a wrong username, now L name, sorry, so I'll have to basically go to accounts controller and change it, get L name. Please write a valid last name, right? So that is going to help us in many cases, right? So if I write now my first name, all right, F, so I'll say F-A-H-I-M, so that's no problem. It's accepted. Now please write a valid last name, right? So I'm getting, please write a valid, why am I getting? So just a moment, because I'm calling F name. I'll have to call validation dot L name, okay? Right now, so I'm not, right, you please write your username. So I've been let go, right? So the validation is letting me go. But yeah, in case if I write something wrong, so now you can see I'm getting, please write a valid last name, because what you are doing in last name is accepting even zeros, right? Because you said, okay, my pattern for L name is going to be 0 to 10. I can accept 0, right? There's no problem in accepting 0. But yeah, in case if you're typing, make sure you're not typing anything more than capital A to Z and small a to Z. You cannot type anything, but yeah, if you type valid, you have been taken. Now let's do it for username. The class is once, you have to make it once, right? And use it in each and every software that you make. So it's not like you are doing it every time or you're doing it again and again. It's very important in full stack development. The word full stack means it has to be professional, it has to be secure, it has to be user friendly, right? It has to have a lesser amount of chances for crashing. It has to have error chances, or maybe error generation chances, minimum error chances, or we can say exception generations, or minimum exceptions are thrown, or maybe negligible exceptions, the negligible errors, right? Your software is good enough to handle errors and respond to the user in a nice manner with user-defined, nice user-friendly messages, right? Now I will create uname expressions for username, and in username I can say, hey, I can accept 0 to 9 as well, right? And I can accept some special characters, like I can accept dot, I can accept underscore, right? And I can accept let's say about @ right? So if you want to accept any special characters, and here minimum username should be 3 and maximum it should be of 20. Here it should be 20 again, maximum it should be 20, so it should fall under minimum 3 and maximum 20. So it should be greater than the minimum and less than maximum, greater than minimum, less than maximum, greater than minimum, less than maximum, right? Or equivalent to, right? Greater than or equivalent to. So now let me go and create a user name validation. So I'll say for uname, I am going to accept, let me call this name so that we are not having any confusion. All right. So uname is username, uname is username, right? So now I say uname, and I'll say uname dot find uname expression dot matcher. You got to match with the uname expression, and return matcher dot find is going to either return true or it's going to return false. So let me call this again for username now, right? All right. So now we are going to go to username. I will say if not validation dot uname, and you have to pass user dot get username. If not validation dot uname, if it's not equal, please write a valid user name. So say please write a valid username right here. So let me go ahead and say Fahim Khan, and now we are getting this please write a valid username. Now what is invalid here? You've written a username, invalid is the space maybe, right? Who knows? Let me see if validation.uname. So I'll go to validation.uname, and the expression is taking many different. Okay, we're not expecting space right here, right? You can see we're not accepting any kind of space in username. So please do not give spaces, and then you can see please choose a valid, and in we can have 0 to 9 as well, right? It's basically accepted, right? And we can have many different things right here, right? Okay, what are we accepting here? At the rate is also accepted. You can see at the rate is also accepted. Please choose a valid password now, right? It's accepted, right? We don't have any problem here. All right. Okay. And what else? Fine, then the username is done, and password we don't mind. We want to accept all the characters in password, so we are doing good for password. So let go the password. But yeah, that is now true. Now what do you want to do with this? How would you handle email now? Now see, if I type Fahim, now let me choose a password. Alright, so password is good. Alright, and now if I say I want to choose email, now it's showing me available, right? You can clearly see it's showing available for Fahim, and it's not generating any message. So let me go and do this right here. If password, okay, password is good. Now I'll go, if I will say if user dot get email dot equals empty, and then you got to return false. But yeah, hey, wait a second, before returning false, I'll say user dot set message, please enter a valid user name. So now it is going to, do it for username. So please write a valid username. So I'll say pass. So username has to be without spaces, right? And now we have to go ahead and okay, please write a valid email. But I can write Fahim. Now is Fahim email? No, it's not. Is Fahim Khan email? Right? No, it's not. But still being accepted, right? So how do you validate, and what is the regular expression for validation of email? How do you validate email? So for that, I will just copy this pattern. Let me minimize it so that you can see what is happening around. Right now, what I do here, I draw a pattern. I call this as email, or you can say or you can say email, capital email, or you can say small email. Email expression, I have typed it. So now let me create another. So I'll say email, which is electronic mail. I'm going to accept email here, and email is going to match, and we're going to return either true or false. But yeah, wait a second, is the pattern right? Instead of this, I will say if not validation dot right email, right? So if it returns, right, I'll say this, and I'll pass user dot get email, right? So now you can see that email validation is done. But yeah, wait a second, is that sufficient, right? For example, if I do not type anything, okay, let me type a username first of all without spaces. Alright, so it's not available, so I'll say available. Okay, fine. So password, okay, password and confirm password do not match. Please enter a valid username. Why? What happened to username? Maybe we are validating username again. Validation dot get email. Okay, user dot get email. Why are we getting? Please enter a valid. Still getting please enter a valid username. Why? Okay, we are getting this email. Okay, email address. Oh my god. The message at times can create problems for you. Available. So password. Okay, now I get so I get please enter a valid email. If I type anything, now it's accepted. Now is this the validation? No, I'll have to redefine the pattern. I'll say go back to the pattern right here in the validation.java, right? I'll go back to pattern. I'll say, hey, wait a second, my email expression is going to accept these things at the beginning, right? Including at the rate, and I may include let's say about after underscore, I may include ampersand. That's what I am expecting, or accepting. Plus, minus, at the rate is not accepted here. So now this is the pattern that I am going to accept. Minimum 3, right, or minimum 5 to 20, right? And now is this the pattern that you're going to accept? I'll say no, I don't want this pattern. Now I want to draw a different pattern. So I want this to be the first character before at the rate. I repeat, before at the rate, and after that I want to check whether at the rate sign is there or it is not there. If it is there, make sure that after at the rate you are accepting capital A to Z and small a to Z after the at the rate, and you are accepting dot, you are accepting dash. That's it. And that is that sufficient? Now let us see. Now we'll not get proper validation, right? So unless I type Fahim. Now you'll get please choose a valid password. So I'll say pass. Now it is showing Fahim is accepted, right? Okay, I have done some mistake right here. Okay, let me complete it. So after at the rate, I'm going to accept capital A to Z, small a to Z, and I may accept dot and dash and plus. It is the pattern. Skip the spatial meaning of dot. So I'm going to accept dot, and after dot, I'm going to accept small a to Z and capital A to Z. And it is going to be minimum 2 to 20. So let's say 2 to 20, and then we'll change it. Right now we need to have at the rate. After at the rate we need to have some digits, and after this we need to have some dot and the name of the website. You can say 0 to 9 is also accepted, so that's not a problem. And here also capital A to Z, and what is this doing here? So it's an error, right? Yeah, and now we are also going to accept 0 to 9 in the pattern if it is, right? Alright, and this is going to be my button. Alright, so let us try now. Right, so I will say Fahim. Now you can see, is Fahim accepted? Why is Fahim being accepted right here? If I write any, please enter a valid email. Yeah, that's sure. But yeah, email expression. Am I using email expression right here? No, you can see I'm using uname expression. Sorry, I have to use email expression here, right? Now you can say, please enter a valid email. Even if I enter my name, please enter a valid email address. I'll say, okay, Fahim, still please enter a valid email address. Because after let me show you the expression again. After you are expecting some values right here. So I will say Fahim of Gmail. Now, is this sufficient? No, please enter a valid email. After that, you're expecting dot, right, Fahim of Gmail dot. So is dot going to be sufficient? No, you are expecting some letters after dot as well. I'll say .com, accepted, right? I can say .in, accepted. I'll say .net, accepted, right? So now this is proper email validation for you, right? And now, yeah, let's draw a pattern for mobile now, right? So let me create a pattern for mobile. You can keep this created once and for all. So I will say mobile expression, right? And here in mobile we are not going to accept anything but 0 to 9 only, and minimum 10 and maximum 10. The boundary analysis is that you need to be minimum 10 and maximum 10, and that's it what I'm going to accept. I'm not going to accept anything less than that. Alright, so let me use the mobile expression here to match with my mobile, right? So I'll say MOBILE, and it accepts string number, and that mobile number is going to be matched with what is that? Okay, it is mobile expression, and that is returned back. Okay, so let me do it for mobile right here. If validation dot mobile and user dot get mobile, right? Please enter a valid mobile number, right? Now you can see that we're doing it for mobile as well. So let me start. Please enter a valid for your first name. So I enter something wrong in the last name. I get please enter a valid last name. I enter a valid last name, enter a valid user name. I'll say Fahim -KHAN available, right? But if I hit enter, okay, please enter a valid username. It's not accepted, right? So I'll enter my username. Please choose a password. Password is chosen. Okay, please enter a valid email address. Fahim, not accepted. @NIIT, not accepted. .com, accepted. Please enter a valid mobile number. So now if I go and enter a valid mobile number, so I'll say hello, please enter a valid. I'm not accepting characters. See okay, see the regex regular expression for mobile is going to be only 0 to 9, minimum 10 and maximum 10. So I say 9419441, not accepted. 23, not accepted. 4, accepted, right? So this is how we work with regular expressions. Now you can use that for contact number, and it is mandatory to basically do all. For example, contact number is not mandatory. Does that mean you're not going to do it with contact number? No, you have to do it. You'll say, hey, contact number, you're not mandatory for me, but yeah, I'm still going to create an expression for you. So what I do, I'll say contact expression. Now what I do, I will accept minimum 0. 0 means you type or you don't type. But if you type, make sure you're typing only numbers, right? So I will just do this as well. So you have to validate every single thing. Doesn't matter if he types or does not type. So I'll say contact expression. So now I'll call the contact expression here get. So I'll use get contact, right, and it is going to be validation dot contact. Please enter a valid contact number, right? So let me see for contact number. All right, please enter a valid username. All right, and password. Please enter valid mobile number. So I'll enter valid mobile number. And if I want, I don't want to, right? If I can, I will enter a proper mobile number. Alright, so let me make it available. But now, if you don't want to enter contact number, don't enter. But yeah, if you enter, make sure you're taking valid data. Please enter a valid contact number. Either don't enter, but once you're entering it, right, you got to enter, right, a valid contact number. Now you have entered a valid contact number. Even if a single character is going to throw an error, that characters are not accepted with integers. Please enter valid contact number. Let me take a look at timing. So timing, still we have 4 minutes left or 5 minutes. Now regular expressions is going to be of great use. Now I'll show you some different patterns. You can search for example, date pattern in Java. So you can search for different patterns. For example, if you don't know patterns, you can see regex for matching the pattern, but the basic logic and the basic rulings for using remains the same. You have to create a validation function, and this is the static class, or it's a class with all. Why is it final? Because you don't want to change it. I don't want anyone to change my pattern right here, right? That's why it's static final. We made all the expressions as, right, what? Immutable. So they are immutable now. They cannot change the state. Even at the time of calling, you cannot change the state, right? Because they are final, means they are immutable. So you have to make it ready once. Use two things: matcher to match what? Matcher to match the pattern, and pattern to draw the pattern. And matcher comes from JAX util.regex, and pattern comes from JAX util.regex. So now if you want date and time, if you want any other regex patterns, you can find all the patterns here, right? You can see there are different patterns. You can say date pattern is right here. You can copy it and make an expression and see whether that matches. Another pattern is here for DOB, and different patterns are readily available. In case if you don't find them and you want to make it pattern, and dogs have started, and guess what? The dogs have started barking at the end of the lecture. So that's I'm very happy that, you know, at the start they create a buzz. Now because we started the class and we finished the class, not started the class, we finished learning everything, right? Regular expression makes your website bulletproof, right? Believe me, 70% backbone of a hacker is broken. Bots are not going to do anything, right? Because you are going to accept only what you want to accept. It's not like user can enter any different thing, right? And that string goes to the SQL server. You cannot send invalid data to SQL, or you cannot do query of an invalid data. So that's where the regular expressions come into picture. And even this has to be done. Every single thing, even if you're not expecting anything, let's say about you have some fields which are not meant to be filled, which are meant to be taken nulls as well, or what if in case user fills them, right? And then you are going to get problems, right? So this is how we can enter valid data, take valid data from the user. Now two parts of the full stack web development are done: validation, this is the bulletproof validation, and verification, this is called validation, right? So this is, if I type something, this is called as validation. Now you can see validation is working fine. And now second, we have also done the bulletproof part, which is verification. So this is the backbone of software engineering. Both you are now versed of, right? You have complete idea of what a validation and what verification is, and I wish you all the best. Do practice, and yeah, do not forget, I repeat, do not forget to remain synchronous with me, right? So this is all what we have, and tomorrow we'll have the most important part. Most important part will only be enjoyed by you guys if you're complete, if you're done with what we have learned so far. That is going to be password encryption. Guys, we do not take blank and text passwords in the database. You have no right to take text passwords, or you have no right to take plain text passwords in the database. We need to encrypt them. So tomorrow's session is going to be about password encryption, and after password encryption we will close down this registration module of the full stack software development. Until then, I wish you guys all the best. Happy Ramadan, happy fasting, happy learning, and happy hard working and practicing. Let me know down in the comment section if you want some help, or you can buzz me. Bye bye, take care, see you tomorrow, have a nice day.